let's go to the time through the portion of the week, which is Emor, which has to do with time. We spoke about Kedoshim when Kedoshim, we spoke about that, for example, the covenant, that the way that Israel can fulfill the covenant is to be time sensitive. And time sensitive means to be or to build an acute hearing and then a deep listening to the invitation that are coming from creation and from the Creator to update and evolve. And so there are cycles, okay, cycles of time. They suggest as well that it is that the word sacred is actually, as I explained, not to unveil the point of what we call man'ula, the nature of that was decided by Malchut, that the will to receive to oneself is actually locking the light outside of ourselves. And that means that we are locking ourselves inside darkness, and we are locking ourselves into slavery. Okay. So we're saying that sanctity is actually looking at everything in ourselves, everything that defines being, which stems from the conversation I just had with David, of how we look. So the perfect example, or the perfect human example of the dedication is the priest. Okay, so the priest for Israel, and Israel being the priest for the world, in order to include them inside sanctity, to make them part of sanctity. So what actually is the cycle of actually updating ourselves with the light, with the nature of it, with that which wish in each generation to extend itself to us, is through those three, which are actually five. Because when we speak about Sukkot, we speak about Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and Sukkot, about three, and then we speak about Pesach in relation to Shavuot. Okay, so they form, one can say, five occasions for a person to sanctify his presence and his relation to the higher. Okay, and the root of all of them is Shabbat. Yeah, the root of the highest point that has to do with the purpose of creation, and all other, you can say, all other holidays or time and invitation to be present or to be with the light is sort of steps into the true acknowledgement of Shabbat, or true acknowledgement of the purpose of creation. Okay. So this is why it starts with how the priest should be, and I'm going back into the definition of what are the terms of work of Israel, which is kingdom of priests. So how we in time, inside the process, it's possible for us to become this kingdom of priests in order to fulfill sanctity, or to fulfill the state of holiness. Okay, so there are those 5, and then there is, or those 4, and then there is the completion of them, which stems from the way inside the wheel of time, Israel found themselves and were able actually to find the right state to reconnect to their covenant, which we call Purim, Chanukah, and Independence Day. So, if you like, the 3 from above and 3 from below, and the 7 that connect them. And this is, you can say, Chesed Gvura Tiferet with Netzach Hod Yesod, coming together to extend themselves into Malchut. Okay, this is actually the idea of how things can reform themselves. Okay? Definitely how human consciousness can reform itself.